Hello there, Ray here, and I'm joined by Excel.
Hey,
And what we got behind us is a new 1.13 Guardian Farm. Our Guardian Farm here produces over 120,000 items per hour after testing it overnight. As you can see, the Guardians are spawning, then falling to their death, and then we have a collection system which is picking up the loot. So with our farm, you'll be able to get the crystals as well as the shard loots from the Guardians. And you can use this to make the prismarine types of blocks. So you get prismarine bricks, as well as dark prismarine, and you can make sea lanterns out of this. Now with 1.13, you now have the ability to make the slab variants as well, and also the stairs. Now Guardians also drop raw cod, and there is a small chance that you can get squid that drop from here, which will drop ink. Now dolphins also spawn here, and they also drop some raw cod.
okay, so about a month ago, I came up with this original design where the gardens spawn inside the bubble columns, and while they're at it, they get transferred up, and then they get pushed to the side. But then I showed Ray this design, and then he and I were able to come up with a better and faster design later on.
So after seeing Excel's design, I thought maybe we could come in and improve it with having a different type of spawning floor. So I came up with this type of spawning floor here, and Excel has been helping improve it. So what we have here is different types of water. Right here on this dark prismarine, we have the water source, and it's a waterlogged prismarine slab. The source water here is then flowing out in this direction, in which case it is flowing over here and bumping up against these gates, which are open. Then underneath of that, we have some stairs, and these stairs are waterlogged. So there are two sources, but both of them are inside of waterlogged blocks, and then we have flowing water here. And we can even look at this with F3, and you can see that it says that it is some flowing water. So the way that it works is very similar to like my dolphin and my fish farms. If you haven't seen those before, I'll put links down in the description. But what we discovered is that it is possible to get mobs that take two spawning spaces that use water to have the bottom one be waterlogged. So the dolphins, as well as the guardians, as well as squid, they both need 2 meter high of water, but only the top piece actually has to be some type of water that's not waterlogged. Where the bottom piece can be any type of waterlogged block. This allows us to minimize the area which the guardians can move about. Now the guardians are able to spawn here in this flowing water, and once they do spawn here, they will immediately get pushed out, and then they will fall into this empty area where they will drop down all the way far enough so that they will hit the ground and die instantly.
After the guardian dies and the items appear, there will be hopper minecars that will drive underneath these slabs, and then while they go underneath, they will be able to pick up the items. And when they reach one of the two sides, the items will get unloaded by this unloader that is designed by KK, and then the items will be sent to the storage system or whatever you want to do with them.
We have been working on these farms during our Twitch streams. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitch. We're close to having 1,000 followers. If you'd like to be right there as we discover new things and design new farms, we do stream every day at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'd love to see all you guys come and join us. In this farm here, we try to maximize the amount of spawning spaces. So there is around 20,000 spawning spaces for the Guardians to spawn in. So we went with the whole max size of the ocean mine, so from all the way from 39 up to 61, and the full 58 meter wide as well as deep, trying to get the most spawning spaces since we're able to spawn the Guardians without them going over the cap. Now in 1.12, it's a lot easier to get to the mob cap with Guardians with a lot less spawning spaces than in 1.13. So in this farm, you notice that we got around 20,000 spawning spaces just to get to mob cap, where in 1.12 you can use quite a bit less just to get there as well. Also notice that we do have an overhang, but the overhang doesn't really seem to add any more spawning spaces. So it doesn't seem like in 1.13 the spawns are occurring outside of it and moving inside of it.
Okay, so while making this design, we noticed that we had to do an alternate design because we started noticing that guardians, they tended to get stuck between each other, as in like two guardians spawn right next to each other and they blocked each other from moving, so they would stay there stuck without falling. And then we also did this because we also noticed that a lot of guardians, they jumped to the other side and then they fell down again. And so in both situations, the guardians tended to stay alive for longer, killing some of our rates.
Now the squid and the dolphins can also spawn in this area, but they aren't affected by the flowing water, so they won't immediately get pushed out, but they'll just decide to walk out on their own. So you will get the raw fish from the dolphins as well as the ink sacs from the squid, but it's not going to be consistent like the Guardian loots. Even though the dolphins as well as the squids are in the water mob camp, and therefore they're not in the hostile mob camp, so they're not affecting the Guardians, they themselves could occupy the space of this area, and therefore it's possible that they could prevent Guardians from spawning in this space. So if you want to prevent them from spawning, you can put in a water mob switch, in which case you just put a bunch of the water mobs near the player, and just have them so they're unable to despawn. And if you have at least 16 of them, then they won't be able to spawn any inside of the farm. Now the AFK point for the farm has to be at least 24 meters away from the spawning spaces, that way they can spawn in. So right here, I'm AFKing above the farm, and this way the player is far enough away so they're able to spawn, but he's still close enough to the farm to allow it so that they are able to drop all the way down and still be able to hit the ground without despawning. So they're within the 128 meter range. You can also AFK underneath the farm, and so be greater than 24 meters away from the spawning spaces. But your circle in which mobs are spawning around you is going to be a little bit different, in which case you might actually be loading more caves, so you might have to light up more if you end up AFKing underneath compared to AFKing above. So some other things to mention about this build is that we did put in some walls on either side of where the Guardians will drop. This way we just didn't have to try to collect items off of the entire surface, only in one small area. Now the farm itself is built up so that we're using all the spawning spaces, so therefore when we drop them, we had to put the actual spot where they hit right here, and this is just above the bedrock. So bedrock would come all the way up to this level here, and the farm would have to be built right above the top layer of bedrock, but you don't have to destroy any. As you can see, the rails can sit on top of it, then we have the entire collection system above this area as well. Now we did test this in a very nice clean perimeter where we have removed all the other spawning, but you could do this in survival and just light up the caves, so you can get at least most of the spawns to occur inside of here if you want to. You also could make this smaller if you wanted to, but you just get a little bit less rates. If you would like to build up our farm in your very own world, we will provide the world download down in the description. What I would do is probably just come ahead and fill in the area where the ocean monument is, then come in and remove all the materials inside there so you can build up this farm. Everything else you could probably just leave, like all the ocean, and then you can just come in there and light up some of the caves so that you can get some of the loot in here. Want to, you can even just build like half of it, and then that way you can at least get some loot without having to go this extreme. We have been working on this design for about a month, but we have also have some other designs which are really insane, and hopefully we'll be able to make videos about them. If you'd like to see more about those farms, we will be working on them on our Twitch stream, so check those out whenever we're live. A very fast item Guardian drop farm that can produce up to 120,000 items per hour. So if you guys found this interesting, show us with a like and share this with others. If you'd like to see more crazy contraptions like this for 1.13 and beyond, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button to get notifications. And if you have any questions, just ask us down in the comments. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.